what up, everybody? It's the Rottweiler Patriots. I'm Vegas,
And I'm T-Bone.
and we're coming at you with another video today where we're going to be doing our personal 2023 NFL awards. We're going to do a whole bunch of different awards here, list what we think our winners are for everything. Some stuff the NFL does, some stuff we do ourselves. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. With that being said, let's jump right into it. Our first award is Wide Receiver of the Year. A lot of good wide receiver play this year, but I think we're going to have to give this one to Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill was the pretty obvious best wide receiver this year. Despite a lot of strong play from a lot of different good receivers, he was clearly above them all. He had an excellent year in Miami, a big reason why they were such a good football team. And, you know, if he didn't have a good game, they didn't have a good game. So, Tyreek Hill, our wide receiver of the year. T-Bone, your thoughts on this pick?
I mean, yeah, Vegas. Tyreek Hill's success was the Dolphins' success. He was putting up insane numbers all throughout the year, and was had a couple of times that he may have been on pace to break the 2,000 yard 2,000 yard record. So obviously he didn't, but he missed a couple games. But clearly his play was just excellent every time he stepped on the field.
Easily head and shoulders above the rest of the field, that's for sure. Alrighty, our next award is Running Back of the Year. Running back definitely had a bit of a down year in some respects, I would say. And I think, you saw what happened with this past offseason with, running backs not getting paid and everything. There's all this controversy about that. But I mean, I think it's pretty clear to everyone who watched the NFL this year who this is going to go to, and it's Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey was a beast this year. Produced like crazy on the ground, through the air, you name it. He was the cornerstone of a very good 49ers offense. I mean, 49ers were oh so close to winning the Super Bowl this year, painfully close. And McCaffrey was a massive, massive reason why. It's no coincidence that when McCaffrey got hurt against Cleveland, that, was the start of a 3-game losing streak. Obviously wasn't out for very long, but, he is the heart and soul of that team. He was very, very good this year. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I mean, like you said, Vegas, in the air, on the ground, just everywhere. Seems he was a cornerstone of that offense. And like you said, when he was out for that game, they really felt it in that stretch. So he just produced just so much in all of what he did. So I think that it was no brainer that he's running back of the year.
Absolutely. Such an exciting player to see. And, nice to finally see him be healthy long term. Obviously had a small injury this year, but, over the course of the season was relatively healthy. It's nice to see that here in San Francisco. Obviously, he's had some rough luck in Carolina, so, nice to see him realize his full potential as a player. Alrighty, our next award is Tight End of the Year, and this year featured some really good tight end play from a lot of different guys. I mean, there are, 3 or 4 players who could easily win this thing, but for us, we felt like it was pretty clear. We think that Sam Laporta was the best tight end in the NFL this year, was a big part of that Detroit Lions offense, huge for them in the red zone. Touchdowns are always big when it comes to winning games, especially with a Lions team that doesn't kick a lot of field goals by virtue of having somehow a worse kicker than New England, and just being a team that even if they had, Harrison Butker, they would still be going for it on 4th down. So him in the red zone was very big for them. He led the NFL in touchdowns for the tight end position and was just overall an absolute beast. Really impressive job by the rookie. T-Bone, your thoughts?
It was close for me between Laporta or Kittle, but Kittle did not get as many touchdowns, and Laporta only had a few less receiving yards. So I think ultimately Laporta's value should not be understated. I mean, I think just all the while across the season, I mean, he was great. He was a great tight end. Just blocking, receiving, touchdowns, all good stuff.
Absolutely. Really excited to see him going forward. It's nice to see that the tight end position is really shining these last couple of years. It's a fun position in the NFL, and it's nice. We got new talent. Iowa loves producing good tight ends. Alrighty, our next award is Quarterback of the Year. Lot of not a lot of quarterbacks who could win this, but quarterback play as a whole in the NFL definitely went down a notch this year. The quality of play across the board just wasn't there, and I think a big part of that was defensive coaching evolution took a big step this year. The last few years have been dominated by high-flying offense, big quarterback play, and I think defenses this year had a nice little adjustment year. It'll be interesting to see how that dynamic changes going into next year, how the offenses all adjust and figure out what's going to be the best way to beat this new look defense. But for us, it was pretty clear who the best quarterback in the NFL was this year, and that was Lamar Jackson. Lamar led the Ravens to the best record in the NFL, and had it not been for some, play calling shortcomings and officiating shortcomings in the conference championship, may have led them to a Super Bowl or Super Bowl title. He just had a great year this year, definitely best year of all the quarterbacks. Want to give a shout out to Josh Allen. It was kind of tight between them, but we thought that Josh Allen just had too many turnovers for us to give him this. Lamar, great player. Excited to see what he was able to do this year, and really hopeful that he's able to, get the job done one day and get a ring, especially in such a loaded AFC. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I completely agree with you, Vegas. I mean, you really hope to see him get a ring one day, and like you said, with that record that he was able to produce and sort of just lead his team, it's no brainer why he was the quarterback of the year.
Absolutely. I mean, brilliant it through the air, on the ground, you name it. He was dynamic, and a big reason why they went as far as they did, especially given some of the major injuries they had down the stretch. Alrighty, our next award is Offensive Rookie of the Year. Man, oh man, oh man, were there a lot of really good offensive rookies. There were several guys who most years in history would easily run away with the award. This was a good year to be a rookie player in the NFL, unless you were drafted by the Panthers. No offense, T-Bone. But for us, we feel bad for Puka Nacua and Sam Laporta, because what they did this year as rookies was absolutely phenomenal. Nacua breaking records for a rookie wide receiver. But we got to give this one to C.J. Stroud. Came in to a completely broken down Texans team and was able to bring them to the playoffs. No one had the expectations they did. But C.J. Stroud completely shattered them, brought, what was the second worst team in the league last year to the playoffs, won a playoff game, won their division, all of the above, you name it. He just had such an impressive year as a rookie, and he took a long time to throw an interception, too. He was very impressive, and again, we got to give massive shout-outs to Puka Nacua and Sam Laporta for the years that they had. Most years, they would easily win Rookie of the Year, but C.J. Stroud was just such a dynamic player and so huge for Houston, and what he was able to accomplish is really and truly incredible. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I mean, taking that Texans team to not only top of their division, but a playoff win as well, with a rookie head coach as well, just incredible stuff. I mean, not much more to say. I mean, kind of resume speaks for itself, but clearly a lot of people had good rookie years, but this was the chief amongst them.
Absolutely. Really excited to see what Stroud is going to be able to do going forward. And the division rivalries in that division going forward, especially with 3 of the 4 teams' future starting quarterbacks being rookies this year, and the level of talent we saw from guys like Richardson and Levis, plus you have Trevor Lawrence. The AFC South is going to be a really, really entertaining division headed into the future, I think. But huge shout out to CJ Stroud. What a year for him. What a rookie season, and sky's the limit for him. Alrighty, our next award is Defensive Rookie of the Year. And there were different guys vying for this one early in the year. It was like, oh, this guy's going to win it, that guy's going to win it. Jalen Carter had a strong start, kind of fell off a bit. It looked like Patriots cornerback Christian Gonzalez might have won it, but then he had a season-ending injury. And at the end of the day, I think it was pretty obvious who does deserve it, though, and that is Will Anderson of the Houston Texans. And the Texans have the number 2 pick, then trade into the number 3 pick. So they get C.J. Stroud at 2, take Anderson at 3. And boy, oh boy, did those 2 picks work out. You have offensive and defensive rookies of the year for us. Great player in Will Anderson. He just had a monster year and was a big part of a resurging Texans team. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Couldn't agree more, Vegas. I mean, it's just kind of like the same thing with CJ Stroud. What he was able to do on the Texans team really is part of what led to him winning this award, not just statistically, but just on the team that he's a part of.
Absolutely. I mean, he's one of those young defensive players who we think will have a bright future, and we're really excited to see what he's able to do going forward. Alrighty, our next award is Most Clutch Play of the Year. Lots of big, crazy, fun plays that happened in the NFL this year. Lots of chaos. This was a very chaotic year, very weird year, for sure. But for us, we think the most clutch play was the Denver Broncos Hail Mary, Week 2 against the Washington Commanders. The Broncos got the Hail Mary, big-time play there, Unfortunately, didn't get the 2-point conversion. There was pass interference. That's definitely going to leave a bad taste. But the play before made by Russell Wilson was pretty incredible. So we have this as our most clutch play of the year. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, Vegas. I mean, I tried looking through some of the other clutch plays that I was thinking about, and I know we looked through some, but, I just really, ultimately, I think this is one of the top ones that I would say. And although it did end in a loss still, this did keep them alive for a little bit longer. So, and just really, when is a 50-yard Hail Mary not just really clutch?
Absolutely. It took them from almost no chance to a pretty good chance. Couldn't get it done in the end thanks to some pretty unfortunate officiating, which was a bit of a theme this year, has been a theme the last few years, where they have directly affected the outcome of games. But still a pretty incredible thing that the Broncos are able to pull off with this play. Hats off to them, and so that's our most clutch play of the year. Alrighty, our next award is Scumbag of the Year. This goes to the person who we believe was the biggest scumbag in the NFL, deserves the most amount of contempt for his conduct, his behavior, all of the above. And if you followed this channel at all, there's one individual in particular who we've spent a lot of time talking about, who we are not big fans of. And, T-Bone being a Panthers fan, it is definitely relevant. I think I just gave away who it is. We have David Tepper as the Scumbag of the Year. I mean, what good things can you say about this man? He has taken a once proud franchise and dragged them to rock bottom. Made a terrible decision last offseason, made the wrong head coaching hire, which, led to disaster, and has meddled in all sorts of things that have hurt the team, won't take a step back, won't act like a decent human being, throwing drinks on fans, all sorts of other just crazy, ridiculous things. And it has destroyed the Carolina Panthers organization. He has no goodwill left for anyone. Like, no one has anything nice to say about this guy at all. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Not much, other than I hope that he sells the team soon. I do not like him.
Yeah. And, the only way anyone is going to even remotely like him if he starts to even think about learning from his mistakes, which, I'm a little worried that he won't, because he doesn't seem like the guy who's going to do that. But he definitely did not have a good year. So he is our scumbag of the year. Alrighty, our next award is Coach of the Year. And there were a few guys who we thought could have won this award. You have Kevin Stefanski of the Cleveland Browns, had to navigate a pretty tough situation with all the quarterback injuries, and then, bringing in an old Joe Flacco and everything. You have Dan Campbell. What he was able to do with the Detroit Lions this year was absolutely impressive, and we love everything that he's done over the last 3 years for that organization, where they started when he got there, and what he has built them into now, we think is really, really impressive. And it was a really tough decision for us to pick who we think deserved this award, because this is one of those ones like Offensive Rookie of the Year where there are several people who really and truly do deserve it. But at the end of the day, we felt that it should go to DeMeco Ryans, head coach of the Houston Texans. His first year as an NFL head coach took a Texans team that hit rock bottom, and a team that no one thought would be good. He was able to bring them to a division championship. They won their division, made the playoffs, and beat a pretty darn good Browns team. And they didn't just beat them, they annihilated them. DeMeco Ryan just had a great year as a head coach. Everything he was able to do was really impressive. And the thing for us, we loved what Dan Campbell did too. It was between him and Dan Campbell for us, but we felt like DeMeco Ryan exceeded expectations just a bit more than Campbell did. And what he was able to do for a Texans squad that everyone thought was dead, we think deserves some level of recognition. T-Bone, your thoughts?
On account of where the Texans team was versus the Lions team, is why we give it to DeMeco Ryans. Overcoming all of the basically a Texans team all written off to making it a game away from the AFC Championship. I think that, is good enough evidence.
Absolutely. And again, we want to give a massive shout out to Dan Campbell and Kevin Stefanski for the work that they were able to do this year. Love those guys. Most years their performances would be good enough to win Coach of the Year, but DeMeco just edges them out for us. But, good job to all three gentlemen for what they've been able to do for their teams. Alrighty, our next award is Comeback Player of the Year, and this is an award that has a lot of controversy surrounding it, especially in real life. You have, people talking about what happened with Damar Hamlin, what happened with John Mechie. You've got your Joe Flacco, you've got your Baker Mayfield. And then it's obviously, what constitutes deserving Comeback Player of the Year and this and that. It's a very complex situation, and because it is, there is going to naturally be a level of controversy that comes with it. But at the end of the day, while we think what Damar Hamlin Damar Hamlin coming back from what he came back from, and John Mechie coming back, he beat leukemia. Hamlin, experienced cardiac arrest in the middle of the game on the field. We think that there needs to be some level of production, a solid amount of production to constitute the award. And while both players were able to, come back and participate on their teams, we do not think that they produced enough to deserve the award. And we don't want to take away at all what they've come back from. But for our criteria for this award, we feel like they need to have done a little bit more on the football field than what they were able to do this year. Hopeful that they'll be able to do it in the future. Especially John Mechie, I think his story is really, really cool, and he doesn't not get the recognition that he deserves at all, I think. Didn't get a single vote for this award, which baffles me. The dude beat cancer, for crying out loud. And, I'm hoping that he's able to have a solid career in the NFL, considering everything that he has gone through, considering he had his rookie year stolen from him. But for us, we think that this award should go to Joe Flacco. Flacco basically just came off of his couch this year to come in for a Cleveland Browns team that just had the worst luck when it came to quarterbacks and quarterback injuries. It almost felt like he was retired. Had a really rough year on the New York Jets last year. But he was able to come in for Cleveland and not just produce, but produce a lot. He looked like a top 3 quarterback in the league during his stint in Cleveland. He played very, very good, reinvigorated a team that had gone through a lot that year, brought them to the playoffs on a high, obviously couldn't get it done against a very, very good Houston Texans team. But what he was able to do this year, we found particularly impressive. T-Bone, your thoughts?
In the 5-game stretch, he had nearly 2,000 yards. So, and was just overcoming the bad play that he has had over the past few seasons, and being on his couch and not playing this season until later, and then just locking in and just going crazy. I think Joe Flacco, because at the level he played of eliteness for the time he had, I think should give him some credit.
Absolutely, and again, we don't want to take away anything from anyone else, but again, we feel there needs to be some production, and boy oh boy did Joe Flacco produce when he was called upon. Alrighty, our next award is Offensive Player of the Year. Lots of guys who this could go to. Obviously, the NFL has a certain way that they like to give this award away. The NFL normally will, do best non-quarterback skill position, yada, yada, yada. But for us, we feel like the Offensive Player of the Award should go to who we think the best Offensive Player of the Year was, regardless of their position. And for us, that's Christian McCaffrey. The year that he had was incredible. We already talked about it before with running back of the year. What he was able to do for San Francisco was incredible, and we think he was better than Tyreek Hill. We think he was better than Lamar Jackson. So for us, he is our Offensive Player of the Year. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I mean, not much else to say there, Vegas. I mean, just the year he had, the impact he had, just all of it is, I think, just enough said. It's just that's what should be. He's Offensive Player of the Year. That is story.
Absolutely, just so much fun to watch, and you can see what he's able to do for them when you watch him. And excited to see what he's able to do in the future for this team. Alrighty, the next award is Defensive Player of the Year. And there were 3 big guys who, a lot of people were talking about for this award. You have Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, and TJ Watt. And in real life, Myles Garrett won the award. But for us, we think it's a no-brainer. TJ Watt, Defensive Player of the Year. How he got snubbed is beyond me. He was easily the most dominant defender in the NFL this year, and that's no disrespect to anything that Myles Garrett was able to do. Myles Garrett had an incredible year and was a big part of an amazing Browns defense. But TJ Watt was just that bit better than him in our minds. So the fact that he did not get the recognition that he deserved boggles us. But then again, we've come to discover that there is a lot of stupidity in sports and sports media, and unfortunately, those stupid people have a say in the choosing of the awards. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Every stat that Myles Garrett had, TJ Watt surpassed him in. So I just don't get why they didn't pick TJ Watt. So yeah, I mean not much else. He led the league in a crap ton of stats, but God forbid that happens.
Yeah. Sad that you couldn't win it in real life, TJ, but hopefully our award means something to you. Because you had a pretty darn incredible year. Our next award, it's the big one. The NFL MVP. The most valuable player in the NFL. And there was a pick that everyone chose. 49 out of 50 first place votes went to Lamar Jackson. One guy chose Josh Allen, and, Josh Allen, not the MVP, but we appreciate the guy who did that, because Lamar did not have a unanimous MVP type year. Lamar did not have an MVP type year. We don't think the MVP should just go to the quarterback on the team with the best record. That's the way the NFL has been doing it for the last few years, and that's not a philosophy that we subscribe to. We think that the MVP should go to the actual best player that year. And for us, it's Christian McCaffrey. He had an amazing year. He was the best player in the NFL. He was the most valuable player in our minds. The one running back, really, who was very valuable to his team. Obviously, there are a few other guys, but no one to the same level that McCaffrey was. What he was able to do this year is just incredible, and given the lackluster quarterback play, he was the best and most valuable player. Now, we have MVP and Offensive Player of the Year as the same guy. We think that should be the case. We think that's how the NFL awards should work. There's no universe in which you choose Lamar Jackson as the most valuable player of the entire league, but then you have someone completely different for your Offensive Player of the Year. It's a contradiction in our minds. The MVP should be either one of the offensive or defensive players of the year. The NFL likes to make MVP quarterback, best quarterback, and then Offensive Player of the Year, best skill position player. We think that's stupid. We don't think that's an objective and fair way of doing this. So, we've got McCaffrey, absolutely incredible player. We've already, glazed over him twice now. This is the third time discussing him and his accomplishments as a player for the 49ers this year. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I mean, I know we both talked about it, but the impact that CMC had on the 49ers should not be understated. I mean, it's just, you can see his impact. You can see that he is the most valuable player on an already star-studded roster. So, And obviously, in past, you've had offensive player of the year go to someone different. It's not just a recent thing, but it's become more apparent in recent times. So, but the Rottweiler Patriots think that the best player should get their respective defensive or offensive player award along with the MVP.
Absolutely. We know the NFL's not going to change. We would like them to, but, there's a lot of things we'd like the NFL to change that they're never going to change because they're the NFL. Why innovate when you can be living like an Etruscan fiend? Like a Neanderthal. But regardless, we want to congratulate Christian McCaffrey on an absolutely incredible year. What he was able to do was outstanding. And so he is the Rottweiler Patriots 2023 NFL MVP. And our final award is the Rottweiler of the Year. So, of course, the Rottweiler Patriots, me, Vegas, and then, of course, T-Bone. We've decided to give this award out to the winner of the predictions competition each year. And so, for those of you who follow this, you already know how it goes. But if not, the story here is that we each predicted every single game of the NFL over the course of the entire year. Every single game, it's all on video. You can watch every video on our channel where it's our predictions for that week. You'll see them. And we kept track, and we competed over the course of the entire year, and gosh darn it, it was a fierce competition. But in the end, your Rottweiler of the Year is Vegas, a.k.a. me. The final score that I had was 172 correct games and 113 incorrect games. T-Bone had 170 correct game predictions and 115 incorrect game predictions, which meant that I beat T-Bone by 2. Very tight competition. This thing was back and forth all year. If you've been following us, you'll know. But at the end of the day, I was able to get the job done. T-Bone, your thoughts?
This is a close bout, and I look forward to the years to come. Because trust me, I'll get mine. Don't worry, I'll get mine. You won the first one. That should not be taken away from. But I will win. I promise you that.
Oh yeah, we're looking forward to many, many more years of doing this. Now, I think the real accomplishment, though, is whoever is the first person to go a year getting less than 100 games incorrect. I think that's going to be particularly impressive, especially given how chaotic the NFL has gotten the last few years. It's just progressively gotten more chaotic and more unpredictable. This year, we thought last year was the year of Any Given Sunday. This year blew it out of the water with some of the things that we saw. But at the end of the day, I was able to edge it out, get the job done. And so I, Vegas, am your Rottweiler of the Year. We would like to congratulate every single player, coach, person, besides David Tepper, who made it into this video. And anyone else, honorable mentions, who didn't quite make it, lots of guys had great years this year, and we just want to give a huge shout out to everybody. Lots of love to everyone else. And then also, before we wrap up, we do want to briefly say that we are saddened by what has happened in Kansas City today. It's unfortunate that this event happened. People just go in there to celebrate their team, and then they have to deal with a tragedy like that. We hope that the full extent of the law is used against the perpetrators, and we will keep the victims and their families in our thoughts and prayers. So we just want to address that. So that's going to kind of wrap things up here. The other thing as well is we had intended to do 2 videos this week, this video, and then kind of a recap on the year. For us as a channel and then the NFL as a whole, just kind of one big end-of-year video. The plan was do that video this video this week, and then take the next 2 weeks off except for reaction to major news that might occur. But T-Bone has unfortunately been sick. I don't know if you can hear it. It's why, you know, last week, I've been a bit more dominating. I'm usually the lead with these things, but I've dominated a bit more than usual. So, and it's just trying to get all this done between all the schoolwork stuff, T-Bone being sick. It's a lot. So we are going to be pushing the video which we had planned this week to next week, and then we'll do that, and then we'll probably take a week or 2 off just to rest, recuperate, focus on school, and then get right back to trying to do weekly uploads. Other than that, I think we can wrap this thing up. Please be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. We would love to hear what you all have to say. And that is going to do it for us today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe. And we'll see you all in the next video.